Shadowbringers Part 4. As the Scions were preparing to return to the Source, a new threat was presented with the sudden appearance of the Ascian Elidibus. He assumed the guise of the original Warrior of Light, and following a climactic struggle, it was you that stood victorious. With peace restored, the Scions bid farewell to their friends on the First, and finally made the journey home. However, they soon discovered that events unfolding in distant lands may spell disaster not only for Eorzea, but the entire world. Ooh. I suppose we ought to take stock of the situation. By forestalling the 8th Umbral Calamity, we have unwritten history. The future now lies beyond my ken. None can say what awaits, but so long as we stand together, I doubt not but that we can overcome all trials. We have always done so, have we not? What would you like to do? Ask how he fares of late. Do you mean since I reawoken in this body? The hunger being par for the course, I have no complaints. All appears to be well. Though my memories straddle the lives I have lived, there are no... Okay, hello. Thank you for buying my stuff, whoever. There are no contradicting fragments which cause me confusion. Yet by the same token, 'tis a strange feeling to be possessed of my young body again. Even accounting for the crystallization, I do not recall ever being so light and spry. As for my soul, Y'shtola assures me it is similar to yours, Lavenza. That is to say, it is somewhat denser than others, but otherwise normal. On the face of it, it appears to make sense, but I couldn't help but consider the differences between your circumstances and mine. You, of course, merged with Ardbert, and as similar as your souls may have been, the fact is you were different people. Thus did your soul gain in density. How you are able to merge is another matter. Given what we know of the soul, that you possess distinct memories should have rendered the process more complicated. Though I but theorize, perhaps your strong and shared desire to do so made it possible. In contrast, I simply merged with myself. Whatever additional experiences the older me may have had, my fundamental existence remained unchanged. Mind you, that's not to say that I hadn't improved. Far from it. At any rate, when our souls combined, it shouldn't have been a process of augmentation, but rather, shall we say, attunement. It seems somewhat strange that my soul has become denser. Or could this be the result of having undergone another rejoining? If so, it would serve as proof of a future that many fought and died to prevent. Lest we forget, my friend. Lest we forget. Yeah, that is true. Because I was thinking, well, yeah, you combine two souls together, but when it's the same soul, how does that actually work? But then the fact that his older self actually had another soul or whatever rejoined with him. Show him your wind-up mistle. Well now, I have my suspicions as to what this is about, but would you be so good as to confirm them for me? Aye, just as I thought. They went ahead with it after all. The artisans of the mean had come to me with a proposal, you see. In celebration of the knight's return, they asked how I wished to be commemorated, on a coin or as an automaton. Neither, I replied, for all the good it did. They knew I would be embarrassed. It makes no difference what name they give it, yet still they did it. A right stubborn lot they are, as befits the people of the Crystarium. They shall be just fine without me, and Lena may rest assured I do not worry for them. Nevertheless, I shall never cease to pray for their happiness. No longer am I a leader of a nation. Whatever power and influence I may have wielded, I left behind as surely as I left my body. But everything I have ever felt and experienced, all of these things and more, I have brought with me. You have brought for me. And I shall carry them close to my heart always, unto the end of my days. Well, isn't that just sweet? I'm going to assume everybody else is in the same place. I'll talk to Tataru again, though. Everyone likes the garments I prepared for them. Yeah, so it wasn't in vain. Graha's focus. Yeah. Alice's quest. Kryl's eyes light up at the sight of you. Oh, greetings, Avenza. Come to look in on our friends? Rest assured, everyone is quite well. I've been keeping a close eye on them, and have satisfied myself that they are all in fine health. As a matter of fact, they're just about to convene in Dawn's Respite to discuss how best to use their pent-up energy. Let's join them, shall we? Interesting that we're meeting in Dawn's Respite.
Well, my friends, now that we have all settled back into our bodies, it is time we resumed our duties in earnest. Let us speak of our plans.
Ever since the Emperor's death, it's been one unsettling rumor after another. I have a mind to pay a visit to Garlemald to ascertain the truth of the matter.
A prudent endeavor. 'Tis of the essence that we establish the full extent of the threat, not least if it should prove that Xenos doth indeed orchestrate events from the shadows. In light of which possibility, I shall accompany thee on thy mission. Be assured that thou shalt find me more a help than a hindrance. Thou requirest another to imbue thine ammunition, dost thou not?
Assuming that's settled, there's something I've been meaning to look into as well.
Oh,
Welcome back, everyone!
been a while since we've seen Lise.
Lise!
You're fine now, right? No more headaches or keeling over?
That's right. We're fighting fit and raring to go.
The famous Lise Hext, former scion and hero of the Alamegan resistance.
I don't believe we've met.
Really? It's so easy to assume that all Archons are acquainted. But then I suppose your fields of expertise are rather different.
Graha here, at your service. I have read much and more about your exploits, Commander. It is a pleasure to finally make your acquaintance.
Likewise. The others told me all about you.
Do not be so sure. Words scarcely do justice to the vital role he played in our victory in the First. A more dependable comrade one would be hard-pressed to find.
Oh, right. I did glance at the report. But I'd be lying if I said I understood half of it. Well, that's a lot to take in. Just to be clear, this means we're not heading for another calamity, does it?
Shorn of their unsundered master's leadership, what Ascians remain shall struggle to see their plans to fruition. And though I would ever advise caution, I believe we may rest easy for a time.
I'll take that as a yes. Even so, I don't know what to make of this business about Hydaelyn and Zodiac being primals.
A difficult truth to bear, yes. But at last we understand the nature of our adversary. And if there are no further calamities, neither will there be rejoinings, meaning Zodiac will never regain his full strength. Even so, as the oldest and mightiest of primals, he remains a force to be feared. Though his is a power born of the desire for salvation, we have seen the havoc it may wreak. And it falls to us to ensure that it is never again brought to bear upon this star.
But tell us, Lys, to what do we owe the pleasure of your visit?
What do you mean? Isn't seeing my long-lost comrades reason enough? Alright, there was one other matter. I have a message from the Alliance, and before you ask, yes, it's about the Empire. So, after Emperor Varys' assassination, it seems his cousin Nerva made a bid for the throne. The trouble is, he wasn't the only one with designs on it, and it didn't take long for a civil war to break out. And it's not just in the provinces. Early reports say huge swathes of the Imperial capital have been reduced to rubble. The Alliance will soon convene in Alamigo to decide on a course of action, and we were hoping you'd come along.
Well, as it happens, Urianger and I were just this moment planning a little trip to Garlemald, and we should be grateful for any advice the Alliance can provide on how best to make the most of our visit.
To Alamigo, then.
Why don't you go on without me? There's something I need to look into.
Ah, forgive me. You were just telling us. What is it, if I may ask?
I want to find a way to cure the Tempered.
Of course. You think it may be possible to adapt the treatment you use to help those corrupted by the Sin Eaters?
I'm sorry, a cure for tempering? But that would change everything. Alizé, consider yourself uninvited. Go and find us this cure.
I'll do my best. I was hoping you might join me. Don't worry if not, though. I won't hold it against you if you'd rather attend a stuffy meeting.
Yeah, I was thinking, man, it's nice at least this time, we don't have to go to one of those meetings. I like stuffy meetings. What meeting? Lead on. Hell yeah.
I knew you'd say yes.
And we get to
I'll
see...
come too. If you don't mind, that is.
Of course. Attached at the hip now.
Mind? I'm sure they would be glad of your company. Pray, enjoy your time together with your hero.
No, that's not... I mean, I simply thought my knowledge might be of some use.
We shall be on our way then. Godspeed.
So this cutscene actually got me thinking about something. Yeah, when they were talking about now that the Ascians are gone or the unsundered Ascians are gone and we shouldn't have any more calamities, Zodiark won't regain his power. And that got me thinking, so presumably, maybe Zodiark has regained a little bit of power with each rejoining. And if I recall, it's 7 times rejoined, which means 7 shards have been absorbed. Now, I don't know how the balance exactly works, because it wasn't like there was 7 shards, it wasn't like there was 14 shards and then split evenly. It was 13. And I don't know how the balance works with the source. But it almost seems like it's as close to balanced between light and dark now. If it could be seen that way. Which I wonder if that will play into anything in Endwalker. Although, of course, the way they talk, it's like Hydaelyn is super weak at this point. But then, again, it's not like we've really heard hide nor hair from Zodiark, so maybe they're just now at equilibrium. I don't know. Huh. When Yustola is about, one cannot afford even the slightest slip. Don't worry, I can say with complete confidence that G'raha is dressed for anything. When I set out to save Halric, I think Gabu was always at the back of my mind. And having proved that the light corrupted are not lost, I am convinced that the same must be true of the tempered. Similar to those corrupted by sin eaters, the ether of Gabu's soul has been rendered stagnant. And though the root cause is different, perhaps the solution is the same. But how, from my understanding, light and dark are like 2 poles. They're not equivalents to the rest of the elements. So, are the tempered then aspected toward, like Gabu is aspected toward Earth, but astrally so? And that creates stagnation? And if that's the case, why astrally and not umbrally? I don't know. It is by no means an unreasonable hypothesis, Alize, and it warrants full investigation. If there's even a chance we can save Gabu, we have to try. But however much I'd like to race over to Limsa and set to work, there's no room for recklessness. Not when a child's life is at stake. As I'm sure Beklug would remind us, we still know little and less about the soul. Any number of things could go wrong if we don't exercise due caution. And so, before attempting anything, we should learn all we possibly can about tempering. There's just one problem. Research into the condition has long since ground to a halt, and the combined work of the many scholars involved doesn't exactly amount to a wealth of knowledge. Not of the modern scholars, perhaps, but what of their ancient counterparts? I know the Allagans took a more than passing interest in the subject. Oh, this is when we go to Az's Law, isn't it? And if what we seek is to be found anywhere, it would surely be at the Etherochemical Research Facility. Where they experimented on primals and their worshippers, yes? Good thinking. I've never actually been there myself, but I did read the reports on Az's Law, which means we'll be needing an airship. Or, you know, I've got multi-seater. I've got a damn space whale. Hee, an airship, you say? Meet me at the northern bank of Silvertear Lake. I've got a little surprise for you. Oh, and come prepared to travel. Yeah, it's just got me thinking. I've probably brought it up before, but it's one thing I really like about this game. Particularly in its, I guess, function as an MMO. You know, the idea, well, not just an MMO, but an MMO RPG, I guess. You know, the idea of a living world or whatever, like a world you actually inhabit, is that, I mean, we're in an expansion that obviously focused heavily on the first. But, I mean, once you get through 5.0, which was all on the first, there's actually some time spent not on the first. You know, back in areas that were initially established in previous expansions. You know, if not the base game. And then, you know, here we are. Like, it was established in Heavensward that Az's Law was, you know, or housed, you know, many, like, research facilities and stuff like that of the Allagans. And so, of course, anytime something pertaining to that comes up at this point, we know, okay, we can go back to Az's Law. We can go back to this place that, you know, was added, at least at this point, 2 expansions ago. But there's still a reason to go back there. It still has a function. It's not just dead content. I mean, granted, we only go back there for, you know, 15, 20 minutes, but at least we go back there. The story actually takes you back there. I give you the Bonanza, the Scion's very own airship. Oh, nice. It's funny, again, like some of the most recent content, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. I built her as a company project with help from our friends at the Rising Stones, and named her for luck and prosperity. Geez, Tataru is really, you know, in her stride now. I mean, she's a great weaver and now evidently a great carpenter. Maybe engineer. Tataru, this is amazing. We'll be able to fly just about anywhere we want. That actually got me thinking. Because I think it's been brought up before on, like, what other crafters we could have. And I was just thinking, an engineer. I mean, I don't know what an engineer would make and make a lot of. And then theoretically, I would think you would have to then maybe move over, like, the whichever crafters make machinist weapons over to this new engineer. But it would be interesting to think of. Probably some housing items would need to be moved over. Certainly clocks and stuff, which actually is goldsmithing right now. Anyway, I was just thinking it would be interesting if we had an engineer. Our garments were impressive enough, but to build an entire airship. I see the annals did not exaggerate the many talents of the Scion's fabled coinkeeper. That's something else I was thinking of when he was talking about Lys. And he knows stuff about us that, like, we don't even, you know, he knows about our futures, at least to some extent. Obviously, some of the major points have been rewritten, but I would imagine not all of it. There are still some things up to that point that could potentially still happen. Hee hee hee. I'd also introduce myself as your pilot, except the training didn't go quite as well as I had hoped. But that's alright, because we've hired this capable fellow here instead. The Bonanza is equipped with a full complement of mana cutters, by the way. Feel free to use them to get around Aziz's Law. But enough talk. It's time to fly. All aboard. So I was just caught up thinking about, like, where... Like, this ship is not that big, and mana cutters are not that small. Did I ever mention that I was fond of flying? Because I am. Be it on an airship, an Amaro, or a chocobo. There's nothing so exhilarating as feeling the wind on your face as the horizon unfolds before you. Dude, you should try it in my flying car. Can't talk to him. Alright. Honestly, Sid would be jealous of the way that airship flies. Tataru has outdone herself. Anyway, here we are, on Aziz's Law, and Alphino's report did not do the scale of this place justice. Yeah, again, kind of going back to what I was saying, it would be nice if they did more with Aziz's Law, because not much... In a way, it was a lot like... And it's from the same expansion to the Hinterlands, where we didn't really do that much with it. It just kind of became... It was just... It's like an endgame zone. You know, it's just something you do at max level. But even that, there's not... Both of those places... I mean, Hinterlands gets more play because of, like, Matoya, and then obviously Alexander. But it would just be cool if there was... Just because it's such an interesting zone, and other than, you know, like, gathering hunts, and then a little bit of coming back for the story, there's not much here. It would just be cool if there was. Thank you for watching this video. Tonight's stream was really good. Unexpectedly good. I don't know why it was unexpected, but I guess just because it wasn't like a 0.3 patch, really. Usually those are not quite as exciting, and I don't know, but I really enjoyed tonight's patch. I think part of it was doing Matoya's Relic. It's one of my favorite dungeons. I just love Matoya in general. Every time she's on screen, I have a good time. And then going on to the Limsa stuff, and with the Beast Tribes and Merlwyb and the pirates and all of that stuff. Being somebody that came from Limsa, and it just, everything feels like it's full circle, and it was just done so well. And I really enjoyed the story tonight. And we actually finished, We got one quest left in 5.4, and then we'll be moving on to 5.5 and the end of what's current in the MSQ. So it's just really good, and it's crazy to think that it's almost over. So if you've enjoyed this as much as I have, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to come join me live for whatever it is I'm up to, by the time this stuff is released, the link to my Twitch is in the description down below. Thank you again for watching, and have a good one.